I'm going to hand over to Dr. Claudia Keitel, and she's going to give some preliminary scientific data on the nutrition of these grains.
Yama everyone, I am here really, I'm only just scratching the surface of the nutritional properties of these wonderful grains and seeds that we've been measuring. So bread wheat, just as a comparison, you can see protein on average is about 14.5 grams, 2.5 grams of fat, and about 70 grams of carbohydrates, and a lot of that is starch. I should say that we did analyze fiber for the native grains, but it's not complete, but they were much, much higher in fiber compared to wheat as well. So yeah, we're still working on that. Hopefully we can add that later on to the knowledge base. This is Mitchell grass. So Mitchell grass has much higher protein. So this is getting close to legume protein content. So the range here is just because it's an estimate of protein. So we have to calculate it with the multiplier that is normally used for wheat. So 21.5, or the multipliers that are used for other species, so 23.5. So that's a really high protein content. Again, about double the fat to wheat, and a lot of that is unsaturated. It also has more ash than the wheat. So this was a really good candidate for high protein content, for example. We have no idea what other good properties these grasses have at the moment, but there might be really good, phenolics in there and all these other good things that make people healthy overall. Kangaroo grass was another one that was really high in protein, so about 17 to 19 grams per 100 grams. Very high in fat, even more, double than what Mitchell grass had, so 9 grams of fat, and very high ash, so 10 grams of ash. And I'll be very keen to find out what the composition is of this mineral content. Weeping grass was another one, a bit lower in protein, so 13.5 to 14 grams, 15 grams per 100 gram, lower in fat, and a bit lower in minerals, but higher carbohydrate, which might be fiber. We don't know. We still have to measure what the composition is exactly. Okay, now we're moving to the tree species. So Acacia annuora, which is Mulga wattle, had very high protein, 23.5 to 26 grams nearly. Very high fat, 11 grams, and also some mineral, about double the one of wheat, I believe. The next one is Whipstick wattle. It's a beautiful seed with the yellow. So when you grind this up, it makes a yellow and black flour, which is beautiful. Protein is a bit lower, but fat is much higher. So that is interesting to see that different wattles have quite different composition. Some are higher in fat. So Mulga had 11 grams. This one had double the fat and about the same amount of ash, for example. And then this is Kurrajong. So we looked at this at the kernel, which again was quite high in protein, very high fat, nearly 20 grams of fat, and a lot of that unsaturated, and similar amounts of ash. And then this is the Quandong. And you can see the fat content is 60% nearly. So that is very high, and still a lot of that is unsaturated, and actually it's high in oleic acid, which is the same acid that is fatty acid that is found in olive oil, for example. So this would be a good candidate for pressing. And then purslane, which is often overlooked and considered a weed, but purslane is also what Auntie Betty cooked with. It's really high in minerals and very high in omega-3 fatty acids. So this is a really nutritious seed. They're very tiny, as you can see how small they are, but you can also eat the fleshy stems in salads, for example. It might not be as high in protein as the seed, but it's still nutritious and has omega-3 fats in it. So overall, they are more nutritious, have more protein and minerals than wheat, and some have particularly high levels of unsaturated fatty fats and omega-3 fats. But we have to analyze way more seed to get a better handle on the variability from when they've grown in different areas of the country, for example, but also the variation between species. And we still need to look at much more into the detail of the composition, what types of protein, what types of starch, what types of minerals, and how high the fiber content is. So thanks very much for listening, and let me know if you would like to see other results or if you have any questions.